Thanks for joining us for another C4NPR chat. Today I'm here with Diego Abente of the International Institute. He's been a leader in the cultural competency space for several years and will be joining us on September 5th for two half-day workshops, one on cultural competency and then one on language access. Diego, thanks for being here with us.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. So I know last year you were in town in Toledo and you brought a cultural competency style workshop, and it was well received, and we had a lot of great feedback about how that went. So we're really excited to be able to expand upon that topic. But just to kick things off, can you just tell me a little bit about what you would say defines culture?
Yeah, that's actually a great question, and it's a great question because it really gets at the heart of the issue around cultural competency, the sort of the action of working with culture. Because unlike many things in life, I think the definition for cultural competency isn't nice and neat and concise. In fact, there are many definitions that are accepted in the research, and so we talk about things like culture being a way of life of multiple groups in a society, prescribed ways of behaving, and many other definitions that all fit the bill equally. And so I think that creates a lot of confusion, and we're so, I think, trained to find that quick, universal definition that when we start to talk about culture and we're confronted with this idea that it may actually, and it can actually be defined in many different ways and equally in those different ways, we start to feel a little bit of frustration and a little bit of apprehension, because we think, wait a minute, this isn't as clear cut as so many other things that we encounter in life. What can we do with it? Me in particular, one of the things that I like to do is kind of put it in language that makes sense to me. So for me, it's like your base coding, right? You're coded in the background, like a computer is coded in the background to present a certain way and to evaluate life and the things that you encounter in a certain way. You don't really think about that. And many things are laid on top of that coding, which only work because you're coded in that way. And so culture is learned from a very young age through repetition, through lessons, through observing how society interacts. And it's very much internal. And so you don't question it. More importantly, we're not very often given the tool to talk about our own culture, how that expresses and how that presents. So then when we find ourselves in a intercultural communication situation, we don't have the tools to tell people how we operate and what makes us tick, what things we are and aren't comfortable with, and therefore are in a terrible place to learn about how they work and how they approach a problem and what kinds of things they expect in a communication. And so I think there's an issue there around the definition and, in a sense, the vagueness or the multiplicity of definitions. I think there's an issue around not enough work being done in the community about helping us use our words and our language, in this case English, and in this case the Western culture, to talk about what that means and how that expresses in groups and in society, and how to then use those tools to learn about other cultures. And I think the final thing around culture and the definition that is tricky is that culture shows up in many different spaces within our lives, right? So it drives the values that we often don't talk about, but we all agree that we very much cherish. It's baked in, if you will, to the foods that we eat and the way that we share the foods and who and how we share those foods. It's celebrated in our arts. It's part of the tools and objects that we use. It informs the way that we approach knowledge, and we value knowledge, and we value the stories and how we narrate, who we are and where we came from. And so it's very much embedded and threaded in everything that we do as a society and as a group of people. But not often are we taught how to talk about that in a way that is respectful and in a way that bridges where we come from to where other people might come from.
Mm-hmm. I'm really excited for us to be able to learn more about that, because I think especially in our area too, we see culture and we're a nonprofit world, and then there's a for-profit world. So really even just the people operating inside organizations, figuring out how we can merge those two to have really good collaborations in the community. And then another step beyond that is, the clients that we serve, their culture. Like you said, we all kind of have that unspoken way that we all operate, and then we assume that our clients are the same way. I think that's what leads to a lot of breakdown of communication. So that'll be really helpful, I'm sure, to learn more. Join us Thursday, September 5th at 9:30 as Diego brings the first of 2 workshops based around culture. Improve services by understanding cultural types. You can register at our website, c4npr.org.